Well, guys, as I connect more to like different people and situations, it really and truly breaks my heart to see that there's like so many of us who are so desperate just to know something as simple as, our true identity. I watch cold case missing children's videos on YouTube like all the time. And I think that's because for the longest, those videos seem to resonate with me. And the fact that I never felt that I belonged to my family that I grew up in, that has always positioned me to constantly have questions about my life. Now, I've asked certain questions about my life for so long and so many times, but I either didn't get an answer or the answers kept changing. I understand exactly how you guys feel when things just do not add up. They just don't add up to you. And it puts you in a position to where you have to start paying attention to things that stood out as like red flags. I've heard other people's stories and certain things trigger me. I can remember certain things. I can remember something as simple as me not having any baby pictures. It's really weird to grow up and you have no idea what you look like as a child, as a baby. Not really a child because of course, I went to school, but like baby pictures. I have no baby pictures. Now the thing about that is the person who raised me, I've asked her, why don't I have any baby pictures? And she's actually told me that at my karmic grandfather's house that there was a flood in the basement and all the pictures got destroyed or whatever. But for her older daughter, she has baby pictures, so that seemed kind of weird, that it was only the two of us and my pictures were destroyed, but her pictures seem to have made it through this flood. Now I've asked the woman who I believed was my aunt about the flood because she actually knows way more about the people that I grew up with than the person who raised me. And she actually told me that there was no flood. I remember briefly, I think this was on a street in Brooklyn called Herkimer Street. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was called Herkimer Street. But I don't know. That's just something that just popped in my head. And it's so weird because I even remember things like my karmic dad, he was actually a police officer. I remember that he had a photo. I remember seeing a picture of him in his uniform standing at a desk. And my so-called older sister, she still has that picture. And she never wanted to give me that picture or his graduation picture or the person who raised me, her graduation picture. My so-called older sister, she kept all of those pictures, almost like I wasn't entitled to those or I didn't really have a reason to need those, even though in my head, those were my parents as well. So I didn't quite understand that, but she kept the pictures, so hey. Another thing, and you know what guys, pay attention to little things because at some point we really deserve to know who we really are. I remember growing up, on my birth certificate, my name was spelled Lavonia, but on my social security card, it was Livonia. Now, on my birth certificate with it spelled LA, I actually grew up spelling it LI. I learned how to spell it LI. I spelled it like that throughout school, on my school record, all of my documents, everything, homework, everything, report cards, everything was Livonia. It was never corrected by the person who raised me. This person never told me that, you're spelling your name wrong. And that's kind of weird if you think about it. If you're spelling your own name wrong your whole life, your supposed name, why wouldn't the person who's raising you correct that? Especially because it's supposedly just one letter off. Why would they not teach you that it's one letter off? The way that I really got into spelling my name the right way is because when I joined the Navy, they were the ones who pointed out to me that, hey, your birth certificate spelling of your name and your social security card, it's different, and we have to go by the birth certificate. So they got a social security card with my name spelled that matched my birth certificate, and they forced me to write my name Lavonia. It's a pretty weird story, but it's definitely a red flag. Can you see how that's a red flag? If you're spelling your name wrong your whole life and no one is correcting that, just like my nickname BJ, I've never known what that stood for. They have called me BJ my whole life. Everyone, everywhere has called me that. And I've asked a million times, what exactly does that stand for? And for some strange reason, I just never received an answer for that. It's pretty weird. When you start thinking about the red flags, you start realizing that they're more than just red flags. That's your intuition saying something is off. Something is just off. I knew I never really looked like anybody. I was never invited to any kind of family vacations. Everybody always kept telling me that I thought I was better than everyone, and I didn't even understand that because I didn't understand how. I think I struggled more than everyone else, to be honest. So I really, really didn't understand how I felt like I was better than anyone. That was always the weirdest thing that everyone said about me. But listen, guys, I suggest you write down every little thing that you remember about your childhood, the smallest little thing, because that's what I'm getting into the habit of doing. Things that confuse you or just never added up, or, anything that your intuition is sending alarms to you that, you should pay attention to that. Just write it down because you never know how it may add up later. Because the fact that my karmic mother never ever said I love you to me, ever, that's the main thing that stood out to me. I don't know if maybe she just wasn't that type of individual, but for a so-called parent to never ever tell their child I love you, that's a little odd. See, it's little things like that, that I'm just saying maybe we should all start paying attention to. Those of us out here who we're just trying to figure out who in the heck we are. We're just trying to figure out where we come from. And it's even major things like in my situation, I know we lived in poverty my whole life, until I left home and joined the Navy. But once I went in the Navy, it's really odd because we lived in poverty. We got evicted a million times. But once I left home and joined the Navy, all of a sudden it seemed like everybody's money just became better. I joined the Navy around when I was 18 or 19, I can't remember. But I don't know, then, family members started purchasing homes, purchasing high-end vehicles like Mercedes-Benz trucks, and, put my nephews through private school. They were vacationing, and I never really asked questions because, I'm not really one to pocket watch, but certain things just really stand out to you. And I remember at least one time I did ask my so-called older sister, where in the world is our so-called mother getting this money from? She explained to me, as well as the lady who raised me, because I did ask her about it, that something happened at work for her. Something at work to where she signed for a package because she was the boss in her section. So she signed for a package, and I guess the mailroom guy, he was doing something illegal with sending things through, the mail system. And because she signed for it, I guess the FBI or somebody like that came at her job and threw her in handcuffs and took her in, and they handcuffed her to a chair and embarrassed her. And apparently she said that she sued the FBI and she got a huge payout. And that's how she was able to purchase that home in Queens and buy these high-end vehicles, buy my so-called little sister her vehicle, and actually build a brand new house in Georgia from the ground up. Built it from scratch. Really big, really nice house actually. But I don't know, it's just little things that I'm continuously writing down and paying attention to that I never really paid attention to before because I just never thought it was relevant. Until now that I'm trying to put the pieces together, now that I'm listening to other people's stories, and please disregard the bouncing in the background, the kids are playing basketball. But I just recommend you guys to write things down, even if it feels like nothing, but it may turn out to be clues to who you are, or at least clues to your story. that's what I'm doing, and it's really starting to help me. So I don't know, I'm just putting that out there, so maybe anybody else could just take out a notepad and a pen, or just leave it out, because with me sometimes things just cross my mind out of nowhere. Just a thought comes to my mind and I just grab the notebook and just jot some things down. And you never know, when you read back over it, sometimes it makes you remember other things as well. So I'm just putting that out there, because you know what, guys, we all deserve to heal. We all deserve to know who we are. We all deserve to know where we come from. We all deserve to know who our true ancestors are. We all deserve to know our story. And just seeing all of the individuals out here who are going through such a similar situation that I am, I mean, not only is it heartbreaking, but I just feel that, we can support one another, even if it's just listening to one another, because sometimes you just want to feel like someone understands you. You just want to feel like someone believes you, because a lot of times when we speak our mind, it's a thing of disbelief. And sometimes it just feels good just for someone to believe the things that's coming out of your mouth, believe your experiences, even if it's just from your intuition. It just feels really comforting when you're at least embraced or listened to. So hang in there, guys, because the truth will always come to light, and we will get some peace and tranquility in our lives. That's what I believe. And I believe that because I feel like we deserve that. We deserve to heal, we deserve peace, and trust the Most High will provide that to us. Because you know what? We're not crazy if we just want to know who we really are. We're not crazy if we just want peace. We are not crazy if we want to heal from all the traumas and experiences that we've gone through. Because I'm not crazy, and neither are you.